Alrighty guys, we're back for Naya tokens, and this is a Duskmourn standard brew, and I'm Red Cat. Let's briefly go over the deck, then hop right into some ranked. A lot of go wide token generation, like all four hop to it. 3 bunny rabbits, nice. We got 4 Midnight Mayhems, 3 bunny gremlins, no, just normal gremlins, but still kind of cool. Gremlins you control also get Menace, Lifelink, and Haste until end of turn. That kind of plays beautifully into each other, right? So Mayhem on one turn, Mayhem on the next turn. All those gremlins you generated on the turn prior also get the Menace, Lifelink, and Haste. And the Lifelink is probably key here, I would say. They're pairing all this go wide token generation with Enduring Courage. It's a 4 mana 3/3 enchantment creature. Whenever another creature you control enters, it gets +2/+0 and gains haste until end of turn. Beautiful stuff. It has that enduring ability at the bottom too, where when it dies, you return it to the battlefield under its owner's control. It's an enchantment. It's no longer a creature. Pretty cool stuff, man. Every time I play with Enduring Courage, so far, it has been absolutely terrific. Might as well finish going over the rest of the top end. We got a couple of Virtue of Loyalty, which we actually got to do some rearranging, because of course you're going to activate that adventure side way more often first than the Virtue of Loyalty side, right? And then Virtue of Loyalty, the enchantment, obviously helps us boost our wide board state, which really could come in handy. Speaking of boosting our wide board state, we got Dollmaker's Shop and Porcelain Gallery. Porcelain Gallery side is 6 mana. Creatures you control gain or have base power and toughness each equal to the number of creatures you control, which of course could be really just outrageous in a deck list like this. That could get out of hand very fast. And then also the Dollmaker's Shop side, 2 mana enchantment room. Whenever one or more non-toy creatures you control attack a player, you create a 1/1 white toy artifact creature token. Beautiful stuff. Again, do some rearranging. You're probably going to activate the Dollmaker's Shop side first, and then later on in the game, activate the Porcelain Gallery side. Also here on the top end, we have a Season of the Burrow. Should do the thing. Also doing the thing and doing it well, all 4 Caretaker's talent. I don't think anyone's surprised by this. That extra card draw is amazing. Level 2 is pretty darn good too. And then level 3 is another way to help boost our wide token board state. Nice. Not the only card draw we actually have packed in here though. We also have Audience of Trostani. 3 mana sorcery. Create a 0/1 green plant creature token. Then draw cards equal to the number of differently named creature tokens you control. Neat. I'm interested to see how much this 1-of is actually going to do today. Same thing with the Baylen, also as a 1-of. It's a 3 mana 4/3 rockin' Naya colors up there. It's a legendary creature. You can tap 2 untap tokens you control. Add 1 mana of any color. Okay. Tap 3 untapped tokens you control. Draw a card. Okay. Tap 4 untapped tokens you control. Put 3+/+0 counters on Baylen, and it gains trample until end of turn. Neat card. I don't think it would be worth any more than the 1-of in here. I think that the 1-of will be worth it, but we'll see. We'll see. We actually have a little bit of ramp at the front of the build with Tender Wildguide, 2 mana 2/2 with Offspring for 2. So you can play this as a 4 mana card and get that Tender Wildguide token onto the board. Okay, so another way to go wide in here. You can tap it to add 1 mana of any color, or you could tap it to just put a +1/+1 counter on this creature as well. I actually think it's going to be terrific in here. I mean, there's a reason I opted for all 4 of them. I have all 4 Rouse Reinforcements too, just another way to go wide with tokens. We have 4 Get Lost packed into. This could probably be your choice spot removal, but there's a reason I opted for all 4 of these too. I really do think that in this deck list in particular, there's going to be games where you actually just pop one of your 1/1s or something, get a couple map tokens. You're pretty happy to use those map tokens. But more importantly, you're drawing, once those tokens enter, you're drawing off the talent. You get to see a bunch more. So yeah, Get Lost. I think that's what you're going to opt for as well, honestly. We have a couple for the common good. It's double X in green, sorcery speed. Create X tokens that are copies of target token you control. Then tokens you control gain indestructible until your next turn. Okay. And then you gain 1 life for each token you control. Guys, X can be 0. And I think there's actually going to be a lot of moments where you actually just play this out for 1 green mana and be pretty darn happy about it. Indestructible should come in handy, although we are seeing a lot of exile removal, and Sunfall still floating about too. Okay, the mana base, guys. I thought about the mana base for a while. I think it'll be fine. I mean, there's a lot of dual lands, all 4 Fables over here. We do have a couple Mirrex, Fountainports, and I'm not actually going to go over the dual lands right now. Just know that I thought about it for a while. No honorable mentions, guys. What at the very least should have made the honorable mentions? Let me know in the comments. Either way, I do my dandiest to save the more in-depth discussion for the end of the video, so look forward to that. In the meantime, let's go ahead and take this into some ranked and see how we do. All right into that first game. What am I expecting from the build? It should be janky. If it does really good, then it's all Caretaker's talent. That's it, right? That card will just pull us to victory. No, honestly, we have a lot of really powerful cards packed in, and a lot of these cards we actually see in like mono white mid-range and stuff, or well, first of all, I really like this hand. We go first to you. This is an excellent hand. Outside of that, just opting for go wide tokens, I don't know. In a Sunfall standard, it should be bad, but you never know. And honestly, I don't see Sunfall as much anymore for some reason. I bring it up all the time, though. Opponent, what you bringing to the table, buddy? Should we pause the video until the opponent shows up? Probably. I'll do that. The opponent has arrived. Let's get that Verge down. It is green for now. Wait, it is green for now. We don't have a white source in hand, guys. White source on the Wildguide if it survives, right? I guess we'll see, won't we? So, of course, if we see a forest or a plains, then the Verge will be our white source, and that includes our Fabled Passage. We could always just grab forest or plains out of the deck list too. Mirrex also mana fixing us, but not on the opponent's turn, right? If we want a white source on the opponent's turn, it'll be the Wildguide for now. Hop to it. Okay, let's get the Wildguide down. It might not survive. I know one thing, they don't want it to survive, but it does not survive. So Mirrex is our only white source. Fabled Passage, let's go. We'll wait for our fourth turn on that since we do have the mana fixing here off the Mirrex. Hop to it. So Boros control probably, right? Or Boros token control. You know what we saw recently though? Boros burn, which I really appreciated the opponent bringing to the table. So maybe this is the Boros burn list? You never know. Okay, grab our plains. Midnight Mayhem. Running like Mayhem, we have 6 creatures on the board. Running Mayhem down into a board wipe, Brotherhood's End or something would be devastating. So it's going to be Dollmaker's Shop and then keep the Virtue of Loyalty open. Now that Verge also taps for a white. Virtue of Loyalty, nice. We get to block one of the bunnies. And we'll keep our Virtue of Loyalty open for their turn, because if they do decide to wipe the board for some reason, of course we want a 2/2 down at the end of it all. Caretaker's talent. Copy their 2/2, draw a card. Probably what they're going to do, right? Because it blocks everything on our board. Probably end up swinging with our knight anyways. It trades, but we get a toy back on the board. Maybe that's not what we do. See what we draw. Yeah, we might not want to trade when we have the option to potentially... we'll take that too. Down to 18. Yeah, but we might not want to trade when we have options to actually boost our wide board state and stuff. Midnight Mayhem. Grab a 4 plains. Another plains. Another red source. If we see Enduring Courage, won't be able to play it without the second red source, but second red source might hold us up too. I'm going to grab a plains based on what the deck list is doing. Virtue can come down, and instead of trading, we just take the turn to boost our board state, right? Well, I guess a trade could still work there since we get another toy. But see, now that there is no trade into the night, now it's a 3/3 with Vigilance. I think that's better. Hold back, right? So 6 mana off the top could be pretty good. Crap, guys, right into a Sunfall. All right, that's brutal, huh? The 6th mana, we could unlock the gallery, but we probably want to unlock it next turn. Go for Midnight Mayhem for the turn, because we get a toy. And then we get the boost from the Virtue of Loyalty. All right, opponent, how many Sunfalls do you have in hand? All right, just be honest with me. Just be honest. You know, just reveal the Sunfalls and we'll decide if we just want to go into the next game. No, they have a good blocker with the Incubator. They dropped good game. I don't think so, buddy. We're not out of this yet. I don't think we're out. Mana, well, that might drag us down a little bit. They still got that 1 mana open and it's sticking right now, so. Swing, toy. They do find some spot removal for one of the 1/1s, which is great news. I think they would just take this if it's a 3rd Sunfall, guys. I think they would just take the 3 gladly. We need our Caretaker's talent. Oh my goodness, guys. It was triple Sunfall. I guess maybe it was a GG opponent. Holy cow, dude. That's brutal business. Well, it's a little funny, man. We could either laugh or cry, and maybe a little bit of both. We have Mirrex and Fountainport open. I guess we keep them both open for the end of the opponent's turn. If we would have done it on our turn, we could have got Virtue of Loyalty boosting. Is that boost worth running into a 4th Sunfall or another board wipe? No, probably not. We just want to get these at the end, right? Swinging for, how much is that? Crap, dude. We're forced to chump for the turn. Holy cow. So, I mean, they have 19 on the board. We'll chump the 8/8. And we have to take 1 for the fishy. Luckily, it's not a tapped fishy. Fountainport actually really coming in handy here. Pay the 3. Down to 16. Might as well go. They're tapped out now, guys. So we'll go for the Mirrex as well. Forced to chump, so we chump the biggest thing. Yeah, the boost to the talent just to boost the Phyrexians that they got from the triple Sunfall. I mean, that's just something else, isn't it? That's something else. So we do have Fountainport. We have 2 blockers with the Virtue. And that's that. Only 2 blockers isn't going to do it. So I guess we might as well unlock the Porcelain Gallery side for fun. Drop the Ardenvale Fealty on our turn. I'll swing for 2. Get a toy. Which is actually swinging for 3 then. Everything on tops. It's just too bad the might. It's too bad the might can't block here. Otherwise, this would have been a really good turn, huh? Wait a minute. Wait a minute, guys. Hold up. We could have survived, right? Yeah. Yeah, since, wait. Where am I? I'm confusing myself. Instead of unlocking the Porcelain Gallery, we could have went Fountainport Fishy. Swung with the might, got the toy. Right? And then we would have survived the turn. Potentially, I suppose. We still don't know what's in the opponent's hand. Either way, triple Sunfall against a go wide build. That is rough business, huh? Let's keep going because honestly, I was pretty pleased with everything the deck did there. I can imagine if we were able to keep the ramp on the Wildguide for an extra turn or 2, that would have also helped us out a little bit. maybe done stuff a little bit faster before their first sunfall or something, right? I don't know. I don't really know there. Also, if they missed their third sunfall, then I think we also would have been in a really good position. So being able to survive double sunfall and still sit pretty, I think that says something too. Opponent goes first should be scary, but we'll see. All right. Parlor. Midnight Mayhem. I'm going to keep it. I like it. All right, Overlord. I was pretty afraid they were about to just pass back with those two open. I obviously don't want the Wildguide to get countered. Want it on the board. This is definitely the type of deck list, though, that knows how to spot remove, so we'll see. Two outrageous robberies milled off the Overlord. Wildguide out of the equation. Get Lost is decent. Scry on the Parlor. Audience with Trostani, not going to do too much here, I would say. We should probably just ditch it. Oh. Our hand has plenty of ways to get different types of tokens. We might need to restock against a deck list like this, but we need to find mana. Yeah. I'm sending it. And I hope that's okay. Get Lost, we'll wait. Virtue. Virtue we keep open, and if they counter it, then we have Caretaker's Talent, maybe actually lands. Okay. They do keep the 4 mana open this time, guys. We get the 2/2. That's good news. For the common good. The Dollmaker shop is pretty tempting here, too. I really don't want to lose the talent. Start with the swing. Maybe they'll do something to our 2/2 knight. They don't. You stay away from my talent. Aha! Okay, establishing talent is obviously huge news. Against Dimir, I don't know what they can do to enchantments right now. We'll see. They mill us. They mill us, dude. What? Instead of milling themselves? Well, we need mana. I guess it'll be Dollmaker shop for the turn. Swing. It lands. See what happens with the swing here. Draw. Mana. All right. Dude. Good stuff. We have Get Lost open now. Or copy with the talent. Now we'll save that for next turn probably. Get Lost open. That's good enough for me. We're going to have to probably take care of the Overlord. Maybe. Is that worth it? Saving Get Lost for like a Shieldred might be better. Outrageous Robbery. Jace. They go ahead, grab a Go for the Throat. The Prankster. Their Cruel Somnophage. Just 1/1 right now. Alright. I guess we'll Get Lost the Overlord. Somehow keeping the Enduring Courage around would be really good with this hand, huh? Oh, the Somnophage is a 2/2 now. Still worth it, right? I think so. Talent. Anything we target with the talent dies to the Go for the Throat. It's probably just Courage for the turn, guys. And they might trade in here. And that could be a decent trade. We get a 1/1. Okay, it's Courage for the turn. Let's see what they do with this 2/2. They don't know what's in our hand, guys. They might just block with Prankster and not accept the trade into Somnophage. They do accept the trade into Somnophage, however. A Tender Wildguide. Oh, I like that. But we're going to it's still just Enduring Courage. Right now, we don't know if the opponent has any exile removal. Picklock Prankster, okay. Because regular removal on Courage, of course, the enduring side of this comes back. Duress is pretty decent, man. Midnight Mayhem's probably the grab. But Caretaker's talent number 2 could be really good too. For the common good could be decent as well. It is going to be Caretaker's talent number 2. Yeah, generating too much value on any given turn with double talents. Yeah, that's a completely understandable opponent. We see mana. We could do Tender Wildguide, Offspring, and then use the mana ability with the mana that we see off the top to still play a hop to it. Oh, they find a deadly cover-up. They're going to exile our... Oh, no. Our Enduring Courage, our poor little puppy. You monster opponent. How could you? Our haste. Now what are we going to do? Well, luckily we have Midnight Mayhem for haste, but we're going to do our dandiest to just, like, take the turn to set up, right? Tender Wildguide. Draw a card. Crap, I played a mana already. I should have waited for the draw, because Fabled Passage would have been much better there. We don't know if this extra draw on the talent is going to matter, so I'm going to copy this turn. That way we're one step closer to the level 3. We have a lot of token generation in hand anyways. We don't have to rely on level 2 for the token generation. They go X is 4. Okay. X is 4 in the robbery. They find a Fabled Passage from us, so they could go swamp. Yeah, have like a cut down open or something, right? So Porcelain Gallery is available. I'm going to grab a white source based on the deck list. Porcelain Gallery. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We won't have Gallery anymore. We'll have Virtue, though, available if we want. We could go, actually, not the Porcelain Gallery. Instead, we could go Mayhem into Caretaker's talent ability, right? Wow, that's pretty decent. Of course, I tapped the wrong ones. GG opponent. Nice. Okay, good. It didn't end up mattering. So, important note here, since I used the auto tapper, the Caretaker's talent ability is only buffing the tokens. So tap your wild guide that isn't going to be a 3/3. We would have had 12 swinging through there, and the concede meant that they didn't have the deadly cover-up. Was that the proper order for maximum damage for the turn, guys? If we had extra mana, one more mana would have been the Porcelain Gallery with the gremlins getting down, and they all would have been, what, 6/6 at that point? That would have been insane. 1, 2, 3. Wait a minute. They still would have been... Wait. I did have 1 mana. Wait, hold on. Yes, so the best thing, I guess, we didn't know what the swamp was. They had to go for the throat. This one could have been a cut down before the boost. No, yes. Can they, like, full control react to this? Flipping? Not flipping, unlocking. I'm not 100% certain right now, but the Wild Guide is an extra mana. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 4 mana for the gremlin. Which brings us down to 5 mana, not 6. What am I doing wrong here? Oh, Caretaker's talent bottom ability is only 4. Okay, I'm just confusing myself. Let's go to the next one. So we did not have enough mana for the gallery then. For some reason, I thought we spent 5 mana. We only spent 4, which is why we had the extra mana then. Okay, well, that was a really good turn. I think that easily could have gone either way. If the opponent still had more in hand or more ways to draw cards too, I think they would have stayed in it to find another deadly cover-up or something. I like the hand. Let's do it. Let's do it. Mana fixing on the Wild Guide. And Mirrex, I guess, if we see our white sources. There are a lot of white sources to draw into. The mana base should be totally fine and dandy. Well, I don't know if our wild guide's going to stick around, but we'll see. Wild guide, get down! Get down, use a shield! Ah! It survived! Holy cow. Dude, I'm just going to go Fabled Passage this turn. Then we'll still have mana fixing on the... Wait a minute. Yeah, that's not worth it. We'll just go Mirrex to mana fix. We'll still grab the white source next turn on the Fable and hop to it to go wide. And then instead of... and then Wild Guide will get a counter. Okay, nice. Actually, we should have given it a counter. Now they can, in response, go cut down the Wild Guide. We should have given it a counter on our turn. They get a Spell Stutter here. Okay. I'm going to attempt a double block and see if we can root out a cut down. Cut down onto one of the 1/1s. No, double block goes through. I'll take it, dude. No 3-mana card, too. See if there's a response here for the Wild Guide. There isn't. It's a 3/3 now. All right. We grab a red source. We have double Rouse Reinforcements. We could still do that with the Wild Guide, but I'm still kind of considering the Wild Guide. I think we actually might want to swing for the turn. Let's swing, see what happens. All right, we could just go grab a white source and keep Mirrex open for the turn too. I guess that's fine. Everything else in hand is sorcery speed. Just keeping Mirrex? We'll see. Either way, we need a white source, so... yeah. That's probably okay. I got Anoint with Affliction for the Wild Guide. Yeah, okay. So we now know it's an Anoint with Affliction style build. As long as we're not corrupted, this can't hit like our puppy. So that's good, at least. Okay, Mirrex. Looks like they missed their 4th mana for the turn, which could be really good news for us. Anoint with Affliction also gets around the Indestructible on for the common good, which should be scary. Hushwood Verge. Beautiful. Although, I'm still considering the double Rouse Reinforcements play, too. Let's start with the swing, see what happens. Does the opponent miss their 4th? You know, we could go, to... okay, Rouse Reinforcements. We have 2 open to play around the Spell Stutter. If we go second Spell Stutter, we don't have the 2 open anymore. So, yeah, wait, what did I say? We go for... yeah, we won't have the 2 open on the Spell Stutter if we go for the second Rouse Reinforcements. So we might as well wait in case we need that mana fixing a different turn and just get the Verge down for the turn. At that point, I guess it's kind of a slow turn. But either way, we would have lost this Rouse Reinforcements, but it also would have been a counter out of their hand. But the thought process here is it's a counter that doesn't work well in the late game. They do find a fairy, though, so now it's going to be pay 3 if we don't want the thing to be countered. They pass it back. They still missed. Speaking of pay 3, Audience with Trostani is definitely what we do for the turn. We do it first because it could affect combat, but probably not since they have that Spell Stutter just chilling. Also, if we do it after combat, we might lose some of our tokens in combat as well. They do want us to draw the least amount of things here, so getting rid of some of these tokens before we draw could be really good. Oh, also, Fairy Mastermind is just a really good card, isn't it? That's bad news. Okay, let's get that counter spell out of the opponent's hand. I'm going to keep the hop to it and have them counter the Rouse Reinforcements. Do that on main phase 2, though. Let's start with the swing because they don't have great trades. They might just take the 4. Oh, trade? It might be another mastermind in hand then. Getting a little lucky that the opponent's missing mana. Let's get that counterspell, the first counterspell out of the opponent's hand, so maybe we can actually drop Midnight Mayhem next turn and stuff. All right, counterspell is out. I'm going to save the for the common good for when we think the deadly cover-up's coming down. This is sorcery speed. So it's not like we would have had it open if I would have tapped differently too, right? Because how it ended up auto-tapping was Mirrex was open. Archfiend, cool. Oh, get lost, wow. 1, 2, 3, they're at 9. We just don't have it yet, do we? 1, 2, 3, 4. We can play this, surveil, see what's on top, and then base our decision on that. I'm gonna keep the Enduring Courage. Obviously, that would be terrific out there right now. I'm gonna try to go wide with the Mayhem, and I hope that's okay. What ends up happening with the Courage on top is we'll have enough to play Courage and hop to it and give all those haste. So even if they do find their 5th, drop a deadly cover up, they'll be tapped out, and then we win with the Enduring Courage since we have so much mana on the board. And more mana to play next turn too. So the opponent needs something fancy. GG opponent. Wow, dude. Okay. Okay. Not bad. We're going to try one more game, but while I have you here towards the end of the video, make sure you check out that description where we got that Discord link as well as that Patreon link too if you're interested in joining either of those up or supporting the channel that way. And also, if you like the video, make sure you actually drop it a like. And if you enjoy the channel, then consider subscribing as well. It really does help out the channel, so thank you guys. All right, last opponent of the evening. What are you bringing to the table, buddy? Opponent goes first. That should be scary. This is a relatively slow hand, but hey, Wildguide. You think you're going to survive turn 2, buddy? Let's give it a shot. Novice Inspector. Okay. All right. I hop to it. Okay, Parlor. Let's see what's on top. Midnight Mayhem, number 3. Why am I tempted by this? I shouldn't. Just 2. Right? Right? Never mind. I'm so tempted to go Mayhem, Mayhem, Mayhem 3 turns in a row that I have to try it now, you know? Oh, wow. Oh, dude, we're in trouble. Holy cow. Actually, Midnight Mayhem's going to be huge if we are able to keep the Wildguide around. Mayhem on 3, we keep Trump blockers back for days. And then Mayhem on 4, and then Mayhem on 5. Yeah, some classic Boros go wide. Nice, I like it. What's interesting here is they actually had the... Oh, nice. Wildguide's going to stick around for the turn. Oh, Arabella. Arabella is in hand, guys, with an Anim Pakal. So it's not just, it's not classic Boros go wide. It does have some new cards here. Percussionist, Arabella, Fear of Missing Out. Fear of Missing Out. Actually a scary addition, isn't it? All right. Mountain Mayhem. And we have to keep chump blockers, which is just super awkward, right? I mean, do we? If they drop a, each of these have Menace. We get 2 through. We're going to go back up to 21. I'm going for it. We already kind of risked it here, like keeping that Mayhem on top when I probably should have just sent it and stuff. It doesn't really matter. We get to keep 2 of the other gremlins around. Up to 21. We probably survive the turn, but there's a chance where we don't. Recruiter, they don't have enough mana to go Arabella into Recruiter, so Arabella's not attacking for the turn, luckily. Fear of Missing Out is probably in there so they can untap the Arabella and get that ability again, which is absolutely terrifying. More mana off the top probably means Nail in the Coffin, but we'll grab a, with 5 mana, everything in hand. I guess it doesn't really matter what we grab, right? I'll grab a, well, I guess a Plains. Even though we have 2 more Plains, we're probably dead next turn. Arabella about to hit for 7, and then Pakal comes down on their turn too. Man, I was so tempted by all these Midnight Mayhems, but we're kind of up against a terrible deck list to try these Midnight Mayhems against, right? So we could get 5 through, up to 15, take 7. We die there. They only have lifelink this turn, by the way. We keep 2 chump blockers back with the Wildguide. Maybe we can double block Arabella, chump the Knight Errant. We go up to 13. We actually don't have to double block Arabella to end it. We have the tap ability on the Wildguide as well. Oh, Delny. They don't even need... We don't... Right on time, Delny. Holy cow, dude. So Arabella's ability doubles. It's going to hit through for 16 damage. The blocks don't even matter. Good game, opponent. Cool deck list. Surprised we don't see that more often, honestly. That's pretty sick. Arabella's a really neat card. Really neat build around. So if I would have sent the Midnight Mayhem, I think we would have been in trouble either way, guys. It just so happened that the deck list we were up against didn't care about the Gremlins at all. They were going so wide, and they also just saw so much, so many goodies. Guys, let's go talk about the deck list, huh? I'd love to end on a high note, of course, but I think overall the deck list performed relatively well. When I put it on Aether Hub, I'll probably put it up on Jank. I've been relatively confused by the deck list I've been putting together. There's been jank builds where I'm like, this is definitely janky, and they just do so well. And then there's been other builds where I'm like, this should be really good, and it just like kind of underperforms. So I've been really confused. I'm not that confused about this one. As far as tokens go, this should be a janky version of tokens. That being said, that doesn't mean it's not fun. Actually, something to consider is a 3rd Enduring Courage, because I think it's going to be more important than you would think, and dropping down to 3 Midnight Mayhems, because the 4 might be a little excessive. Honestly, though, I actually really like the 4 too, so I think the mana base was pretty good. Let's talk about the mana base for a second. Now, let's do some rearranging so we have some more room here as well. So Fabled Passage, of course, when you're rocking like 25 mana, Fabled Passage is a really good land, because these are the type of deck lists where you want to get to 4 anyways. Once you get to 4, it's just untapped mana of whatever source you need to find, which pairs really nicely with the Verge, Thornspire Verge, and the Hushwood Verge. Of course, you need forest or plains for this to be a dual land, and for Thornspire, you need mountain or forest for it to be a dual land, which is where Elegant Parlor comes into play, where it's a tapped land. That's not necessarily something a deck list wants to do, and this deck list, I don't think it gets too hurt by the tapped land, especially on turn 1, because turn 1 Parlor, totally fine. Then turn 2 Verge, you go right into your Wildguide or your Resolute Reinforcements. Anyways, Parlor is a mountain and a plains, so if you see Parlor and you see either Verges, boom, you have all the Naya colors on your board. Easy peasy. So that makes a lot of sense to me. And then Fabled Passage, of course, can help you find what you need as far as the basics to turn the Verges into dual land as well. And then Mirrex helps you mana fix too, and then Fountainport's just a really value token generator that probably should be a 2 of 2, but guys, this is a 3-color deck list, so technically everything should be a little greedy. Even the double red on Enduring Courage, you're not going to hit it sometimes on 4. Hopefully you do, but there are going to be games where you just have a lot of Selesnya colors and 1 red source. At that point, it would probably be worth going Fabled Passage to find a mountain, and some games they might have to go 2 Fabled Passages to find 2 mountains out of the build. Hence the 2 mountains, by the way. It's a reason, like, we're kind of, I mean, yeah. I was going to say there's an even split between red and green, but I'm actually wrong. We actually have less green than red. But I think my brain is saying, like, even split because Tender Wildguide's early on, and that's mana fixing as well. So you kind of want to treat it as an even split, right? If that makes sense. Anyways, if you go up a Fountainport, I think there are actually going to be a lot of games where the mana base holds you up. Whereas right now, felt pretty good. It wasn't bad. 3-color mana bases are really hard to put together. I think this is fine. It looks like a mess, but it wasn't that messy. Baylen, where were you today, buddy? Guys, did we put this one on the do not craft list? I've been saying this a lot recently. I don't think so. And I think this is a craft less list again. So yeah, don't craft it. But if you have a lot of the cards already and you don't have some of the rares, drop the rares and go up some, I don't know, token generation or something. And you'll probably be pretty happy about that. That being said, if you have like 2 or 3 Caretaker's talents, it's probably not going to be a terrible craft because it sees a lot of play and a whole bunch of different builds. It's really fun to build around tokens, guys. This happens to be a pretty powerful card. We see it all the time. Mono white mid-range, Boros control. There's like 1,000 deck lists. I don't even know, man. There's some deck lists that you don't see in the meta as often that can still successfully run Caretaker's talent. I mean, look at this deck list. This is one that you're not going to see ever. So it successfully runs all 4 Caretaker's talent. It's a really, really good card. I don't think it's going to hurt to craft 1 or 2 of these if you only have a couple, right? So this isn't the card to drop. Cards like Tender Wildguide is a rare. If you don't have all 4 of these, then this would be the card to drop. So I don't know at that point what you would go up because it is ramp and it is token generation. I guess if we can find something similar to that happens to be budget, I don't know. I don't know what that would be right now. Let me know in the comments if there is anything. It could just be other token generation too if you don't think we need ramp in here. Maybe like 3 pieces of token generation and an extra mana as well. Although 25 mana is probably more than enough for what we're trying to do here. Season of the Burrow, right? On the matter of crafting less. If you don't have Season of the Burrow, you probably don't need to craft it. It's a mythic. Just find something out. But probably more removal if you're dropping Season of the Burrow. And at that point, it could be top end removal too. Something along those lines. So it could be pretty expensive though. Virtue of Loyalty's mythic. Dollmaker's Shop is also mythic. Yeah, I'd say put it on the craft a little bit less list. Yeah, Baylen doesn't need crafted, right? Audience of Trostani, you don't need to craft this either. There's probably a bunch of other budget token cards. Let me see. Go over this real quick. Commons, uncommons. Oh, also, for the common goods rare, I'm pretty sure I don't think I've seen anyone play with this. Let me know in the comments. Have you seen anyone play with this card outside of me? I've played it in a couple lists in the past. And we played it in this list today. I don't think I've ever seen anyone play with this though. So this would also be a card to maybe not craft. Although I think it's a pretty exciting card for something like this. It is very possible for the opponent to get around it thanks to all the exile removal. A good chunk of life gain against aggro could be really good too, though. Gain a bunch of life and then have a whole bunch of chump blockers on your board that are indestructible. Against aggro, yeah, the 2 of makes sense, but you're not going to see it outside of this list, so it'd be another one to potentially not craft. So if we're looking at budget token replacements, common, uncommon, what are we looking at here exactly? Clay-fired brick doesn't actually generate tokens. It does give you a little bit of life gain. Eventually you can craft it with an artifact. It's not an artifact build though, so that's not something. Oh, Resolute Reinforcements gives you 1 token. There you go. That could be a trade out for the Tender Wildguide. At that point, you might as well just go Boros though. If you're going Boros, I mean, that really slims down a lot of the rares and stuff, right? Because the Verge then and the other Verge, right? And then you would just go Boros Dual Lands instead. And on the note of just going Boros tokens, you could go the extra Fountainport then. But guys, there's already a Boros tokens list. It's Boros token control. That's really, really good. And I don't know if it's considered top of the meta, but it beats me all the time. So I'd consider it close to top of the meta. But yeah, Resolute Reinforcements. That's a great budget trade-in. There you go. That's a good one for sure. What's really nice, the hop too, it's already uncommon. Midnight Mayhem's already uncommon too. Or if you already have like multiple of other rares, that's a great way to trade in as well. Tinker's Tote, that's interesting. There's so many cards to pick through in Standard, huh? We start leaning that artifact route, you could go Gleeful Demolition. That's a little bit silly though. At that point too, you'd be somewhere in between like Boros Midrange and then like Gleeful Demolition trying to be a little bit aggressive, but I guess you could still go wide. Actually, Gleeful Demolition pairing with Enduring Courage going like a full artifact build, that seems pretty cool. Anyways, guys, yeah, let me know in the comments what I'm missing, but something else too, like if you already have 4 Enduring Courage, that's perfect. You could totally drop some of the other rares that you don't have, go up to 4 Enduring Courage. I think you'd be pretty happy. Just keep an eye on the double red, and you might have to readjust the mana base at that point too. Honestly, guys, I'm not going to change anything though. I think it performed well enough, and I think those games showcased the deck list pretty well too, didn't it? I think so. All right, hey, enough rambling. You made it this far into the video for real. Y'all are champions. I super duper appreciate you, and I will see you in the next video.